views and opinions expressed on Black Pearl's World are solely her own and other persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of all Black people, women, or humans. Take one.
We've been told lies, 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 lies. We've been told lies, 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 lies.
Chicago. Southside Chicago, 1987 or 88. 82nd and Clyde. I was about 13 or 14 when I asked my mom, "What does God's voice sound like?" She replied, "Sometimes it sounds just like your own voice. But for me it sounds like mighty rushing waters." I thought about it. Lately, I kept feeling these different impressions upon my soul. You know, that quality within us that feels and knows things that are often inarticulate, but we know. I thought it was time that I go deeper in my inquiries, since I saw my mom talk to God a lot, like out loud. Their relationship seemed very personal, but unashamedly. I had talked to God a lot. Cussed God out too. There was a lot of things in my life that I just didn't understand. I was suicidal most of my life. Well, I remember being about 8. First time I tried to kill myself. So something was happening. Things were changing. Friendships, life. And I would have these dreams. Ever since I was a small child, dreams of always falling and then waking up in these sweats. In particular, dreams of Saginaw when I lived on 79th in Saginaw. And there was a garage that all the boys, my brothers and them, would climb. I don't remember climbing it, perhaps I did, but in my dreams I was always climbing this garage in back of our apartment building. And there was someone chasing me. The image to me reminded me of Freddy Krueger, though at the time I didn't know of a Freddy Krueger. But I remember that image of this hat chasing me, and I would always run and try to escape into my bedroom, and then I would fall. And it falling would continue. I remember after maybe months, days, weeks, I'm not sure the time frame, but I heard a voice call my name. Pearl. I came out my room and I said, "Yes." And my mom was like, "What?" And I was like, "You just called me." She said, "No, I didn't." And I was like, whatever. I think I started my menstrual cycle, so my hormones and my attitude, I had that black girl magic, but my mom knew how to check it though. At that time, I was very attitudinal. Went back into my room. I heard it again, "Pearl." I came out the room and I was like, "What?" She was in the kitchen at the time and she said, "Pearl, I didn't call you." I said, "Well, someone did." She said, "Well, no one else is here." For some reason, everyone was gone that day. Annoyed, I went back in my room, closed the door as hard as I could without it being an actual slam. I heard the voice again, "Pearl." I come out of the room and I was like, "Yes, stop calling calling me? My mom was sitting at the dining room table, reading a newspaper, eating breakfast. She looks over her right shoulder at me and says, Pearl. No, actually, she didn't even look at me. She kept looking at the newspaper, and she just said, Pearl, answer the call. That day, everything changed. I went in my room, frustrated by it all. I decided to write. I'd seen my mom do. She would write to God a lot and be talking. So I decided to write, Dear God, a lot of things are changing in my life. And I began to etch and journal all of my thoughts and questions. And I left it there. Then all of a sudden, something opened up. And I heard words in me. But it was things that I had never processed before. So I started writing, and this voice began to prophesy to me everything that was going to happen to me by the age 16. All of the relationships and all of the betrayals that were going to happen. I mean, it was very specific. Fast forward about 1990. I was 16. I went back to that journal, and everything that was prophesied had happened. It had been fulfilled. At this point, my quest to know this God deepened. I had walked away from many different childhood cultural traditions, and I began to study this Bible, and I began to go deep in my quest to understand what was happening, because now I was in like Flynn. I was like, okay, you said this and now it's happening. I had at that time some different friends from my high school, a new group of people I had never met before, but some people had heard about me. I can't remember how, but they began to call me. And one young lady, she kept calling me a prophet. It was all just so very dramatic to me, and just a little bit much, more than I wanted to process. And so I just sort of like, oh, okay, But I was curious, and I wanted to appease him because I had no idea what a prophet would mean in my time and what that would mean in terms of me. It was a lot to take in and a lot to process. But yet I still pursued because I was curious about this new awakening that was happening. A little bit later, I go to sleep. And, at school, prior to that, also at school, I would go to school, and I remember talking to my friends and some of my classes, and someone talked about an experience that they had where they call it the witches riding their back. And they were like, the only thing that they could do was they were told to just call on the name of Jesus. I didn't know what the experience was, but they talked about being paralyzed and all of that feeling, being paralyzed. Again, a lot of things were happening very quickly, and I didn't really have a place to put it all until one morning, evening, somewhere in between evening and day, in the awakening hours, my door opened. But I didn't see anyone there. Then all of a sudden, I felt something enter the room. Then I felt a hand come through my thigh as I was laying on the bed. And I kicked my right leg in the air, trying to hit the wall for my mother on the other side of the wall to my left to awaken someone. And I remember feeling I was suspended in air. And I heard a voice say to me, Pearl, this isn't a dream. This is the spirit world.